Hi, I'm Josh Dawes from Playford Games, and today I'm going to show you how to play Journey Stones. Journey Stones is available as part of the Ancient World Treasure Chest, a large collection of social abstract games all in one box. These games are simple to learn but tricky to master, so get ready as we take a closer look at Journey Stones. The year is 900 AD. The Vikings are involved in an ongoing struggle against the nearby Celts, and both sides have developed formidable naval forces. In the midst of this turmoil, a rumor surfaces that the mystical Journey Stones have been found, which grant speed and favor in battle to the possessor. You cannot allow your opponent to have that kind of power. Journey Stones is a move and capture strategy game with a stacking mechanism. You play the part of the Celts or the Vikings as you form swift-moving fleets and seek your opponent's ships in search of the mystical Journey Stones. The Celts, with their brown tiles, and the Vikings, with their dark brown tiles, line up in two rows at opposite sides of the 8x8 board that represents the sea. Each player has 6 raiders, which can move diagonally in any direction. These are lined up along the edge of the board, directly behind the warships, which can move horizontally or vertically. Your goal is to sink at least 7 of your opponent's ships by sailing one of your ships into a square with an opponent's ship. By itself, each ship only has a speed of 1, so it can only move 1 square per turn. However, if a player chooses to sail one of his ships into another square with one of his ships on it, he places that tile on top of his other tile and forms a fleet. This stack of tiles may now move 2 squares in the direction of the top ship during one turn. At most, a fleet can include 4 ships, allowing it to move 4 squares at a time in a single direction. A fleet may not jump over ships though, so make sure you have a clear path to your destination. If a player sails his ship or fleet into a square held by the other player, he sinks his opponent's ship or fleet. For instance, here the Celts use their warship fleet of 3 ships to move 3 squares and sink a single Viking ship. However, the Vikings have a raider fleet of 2 ships nearby that then sail into the square with the Celtic fleet and sink all 3 ships in one move. This is important to note. The larger a fleet is, the faster it may move, but even a single ship can sink a larger enemy fleet. In this case, the Vikings sank 3 ships when they took the Celtic fleet and now only need 4 more ships to win. A couple of tips about forming fleets. Be careful of how many large fleets you form and whether they are warship fleets or raider fleets. It is easy to want to form large fleets and be able to strike your opponents from across the board. But if I form 3 large fleets, that's all my pieces, and it is much more difficult to surround my opponent with only 3 fleets. Also keep in mind that while a raider fleet can be powerful, striking from an angle and covering large portions of the board, it can only reach half of the squares, creating large safe zones for your opponent. A warship fleet can reach any square on the board. The first player to sink 7 or more of their opponent's ships wins. The game may also end with no winner if one of the players surrenders, if the game is unwinnable, or if the players have repeated the same moves 4 times in a row. So in this game scenario, the Viking player is unable to pin down the Celtic fleet. He repeatedly moves his fleet in order to get into striking position, but the Celtic fleet just sails away. After this position has been repeated 4 times, the game ends in a stalemate. That's all the rules for the standard version of Journey Stones, so feel free to go play a game now. If you want more of a challenge though, we've also got a bit of a twist you can incorporate in our alternative style of gameplay, which I'll explain now. We have focused on the naval battle so far between the Vikings and the Celts, but do you remember those mystical Journey Stones that have been discovered and given edge in battle to the possessor? Well, you and your opponent have each found 2 of them. When you are setting up the game, pick 2 warships that have a yellow underside. You may choose where you want to place these ships during the setup of the game, but you don't have to tell your opponent where you put them. Your goal is still to sink 7 or more of your opponent's ships, but some of these ships are now much faster. Each ship or fleet that carries a Journey Stone may move 1 extra square. For instance, A single warship carrying a journey stone may move 2 squares, and a warship fleet of 4 ships carrying a journey stone may move 5 squares. If you use this special power to move extra squares, your opponent may ask you to prove that you have the journey stone by revealing the yellow underside. And if you lose track of the journey stones, you may always flip over your ships or fleets to be sure of their locations. A little tip: I recommend keeping the location of your journey stones a secret for as long as you can. So rather than frequently using your stone to move quickly around the board and letting your opponent know exactly where it is, try moving less than the maximum number of squares until you can strike out and surprise your opponent. That's all for today. Be sure to check out the rest of Playford's videos on Ancient World Treasure Chest and enjoy Journey Stones.